Welcome back to Real Life Answers. My name is Ben, and this is Jesus on Culture. Welcome to Jesus on Culture, where we take one of today's top cultural issues and discuss it in a series. This series involves two pastors, Dan Bannister, pastor of Grace Alive Church in Ontario, California, and Bob Bannister, pastor of First Baptist Church Springfield, Louisiana. We'll be discussing issues such as, should Christians be involved in social justice? Is racism a sin? What is white privilege? Does it actually exist? God bless you, have a great day, and here is Jesus on Culture.
There's an argument out there that I want to point out before I forget that, sometimes we'll say that we should listen to people if they're almost worthy of being listened to. For instance, we look at a community and we think, well, they don't have a viable reason to make this complaint, so I'm not going to listen to them. Or let's take it a step further. Someone you know of is making a complaint and they are not a desirable individual, but you decide because of that, you won't listen to their complaint. Here's why that's not good either. Jesus laid down his rights for us, and we were way away from being desirable. We were deplorable, to use a word that was recently termed in our culture. We were deplorables. We were the worst, and Jesus died and laid down his rights for us. It wasn't that we deserved it or somehow could merit it. He said, they're more important than me. I'm going to give them what they need instead of what they're asking for. And that's what we're trying to say is lay down your rights to love others, because the Bible actually says in Philippians 2, consider others as more important than yourself.
Sure. And I'll point out too that the argument that I should only listen to people who are respectable or desirable is ultimately a judgment itself.
Yeah.
And it is a sin of partiality itself. Because whenever I'm starting to say, oh, well, this person doesn't have a voice because they aren't respectable or desirable, I need to follow that with the two words, to me.
To me, correct.
To me, yeah, to me. Because the reality is that when you make that statement, you're making a judgment, you're passing judgment on this other individual. And you're saying, oh, well, I don't want to listen to them because of who they are. Well, number one, we've already chosen at that point to commit the sin of partiality and to assume that the only kind of people that deserve to have voice are the people who are like me. And that in itself is sinful and wrong. But then certainly, I love the point that you make, and that's the second place that I would go, is the reality that Jesus didn't, aren't you glad that Jesus didn't do that to you? Imagine if God had said, well, if there's anybody worth saving, maybe I'll do something. Let's see if any of these suckers pulls themselves up and decides to act like something that I should be worth dying for. But God actually chooses to love us out of his own character and not based on judgment against or for us as people, but because of his own character. And if we're going to reflect the character of Christ,
for us from the foundation of the world, he made this decision, was he knew what he would endure. He knew what we would be, and he still made us knowing he would have to die for us. That's huge.
Absolutely. And so ultimately it comes to that understanding that every human being has been given is created in the image of God. We are all images of God. And Jesus died for every man, woman, boy, and girl. So the cry of every man, woman, boy, and girl is worth listening to.
That's it. Well, because we're all made in his image. Leo Purser and I were going back and forth on that the other night. And the image of God is a very huge deal in us being valuable, both to God and in the universe itself. We're the only creature made in his image. And that's all of us. It says in Acts 17, from one blood, all nations were made from that man. That one blood came everyone. So what did you think?
Is there anything you'd like to add to what was said today? If so, please let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like what you saw today, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss an episode. Finally, please join us every Monday at 4 p.m. for new issues regarding our culture.